Hello my friends and welcome back to the KCM. Day number 7 here. We get into this third place match. Here are your players and let's take a look at this lineup. We got Team Best versus Team Bisu starting out with a TVP. What do you think of this lineup, Shun?
Yeah, it's looking pretty good. And actually not a lot of mirror matchups, just this single Best versus Tyson mirror matchup here right off the bat. So yeah, going to be an interesting lineup from both sides, it looks like. And we got the Protoss battle bus piloted by Bora over here, so it's going to be interesting to see how they get on. Mini not really performing that well last week. Let's see if he can have a better day of it now. Also going to be seeing the likes of Monster and Kim again. They're pretty good female players as well. Would really want to see this 8-15 versus Bisu matchup though.
Yeah, that should be a really fun matchup. 8-15, very cheesy, very interesting to watch. Bisu though just so solid. I definitely favor him in that match. Mini should be able to take down Hyuk as well. I think Sok might have a leg up over Mighty. Best versus Tyson, I believe that should go to Best. So once again, we might be reliant here on the ladies matches to kind of decide things.
It's interesting that it's kind of like lining up to be that way, right? Where, you know, the boys are kind of like, you know, the odds are kind of evened out, but then the females are actually the ones that are being the deciding factor. And it'd be interesting to see if that ends up being a bit of an exciting way of like keeping the flair in these format going and making sure that we keep even the lower tier female matches exciting and kind of dependent on the actual result of the lineups, more importantly.
Yeah, of course, the roulette wheel spins are going to be super important as well. It's a great way to keep things exciting. We're really having a blast here with this new format, this new style. Hopefully you guys are too. Let's jump into game number 1. Alright, getting started with our ladies match here. We've got Kim in the bottom right hand corner, Monster in the bottom left. This is the lower tier ladies player. So just getting us started here with a TVP on Neo Sylphid. We'll see how this one goes. It looks like the spawn positions here are not the best for Monster.
Yeah, it does favor Kim here going forward, having this direct path into the main base of Monster, and that might come into play here. I don't know what kind of play style Kim is going to go for here on Sylphid. We'll have to see. Might even see some kind of crazy aggression, maybe even like a 10-12 gate. You never know. We'll see. But so far, looks like both players are going to be wanting to take their gases early, so not going to be seeing anything greedy thus far.
I wonder what Kim wants to go for here. Do you think Arbiter play might be the way to go? What do you recommend for like a lower tier Protoss player? How do you take advantage?
Sure. Yeah, Arbiter for sure. It's not the best value unit, but it's the easiest to get value with. It's the most consistent high tier unit in the Protoss arsenal. So if you are a more middle range player, not the highest of execution and the ability to, you know, control like shuttles and Templars and stuff, like definitely Arbiters is going to get you the most value for sure.
Yeah, that Templar and Reaver with speed shuttle play, it looks so good when the pro players do it, but it is a very hard thing to pull off.
Yeah, I mean, the likes of Snow does make it seem easy, but it really isn't. It could be quite devastating as well when the Reaver Scarabs keep dudding over and over again, for example. And yeah, even just the understanding that you have to have the Reaver right up against the minerals to like actually get the shot over the minerals to kill the workers. So there's a lot of things you have to know and be good with executing to get consistent value out of those units.
Is there any chance we get Carrier here? I don't think Carrier is the best on Neo Sylphid. What do you think?
No, not really, not particularly. There's not really a lot of terrain here to exploit. It's very flat open ground as well, very hard to get away with moving your carriers around the map without being punished, and Cloak Wraiths can also just be so lethal. So I don't think I'm going to see it. Oh, gets the delay on this, but actually puts the SCV into the gas, does Monster to save it. Nice little play there, just barely keeping that SCV alive by using the gas mining to deny the shot from the side blades.
Nicely done, yeah, for sure. Is gonna get this Zealot. She could have turned and actually killed the Marine closest to her, but she ends up backing away. Kim just gonna keep that alive for now. Vulture gonna be produced here, and right into a Citadel. Interesting. Kim not going for a range here, just gonna go straight for a DT play. This could be a really quick match here, depending on whether Kim gets any damage with this or not.
Well, interestingly enough, this is a great way of going into Arbiter play, because what you can do is you can go into this early DTs and then you use the Templar Archives to transition into a third base by using the DTs to buy time and put some damage onto the Terran player. And then you can got this Templar Archives to line up nicely with a Stargate and a Arbiter Tribunal. Yeah, you can basically you can expand quite aggressively, take an early third base, go straight into Arbiter Tech from here, and use this as a good segue. So this doesn't have to be an all-in or anything game-ending by any means, but it can also be game-ending if Monster's not ready for it.
Most of the players who do open with Vulture Expand get their mines upgrade immediately after, and we'll see if Monster wants to play that any different. Whether this is going to be a second tank here or a first tank here or a second Vulture. That could really make the difference. You do need quite a few mines to stop the DT from sliding in, especially if they bring a Zealot or a Dragoon along to just kind of run through headlong into those mines and to just blow them up before the DT gets there.
Yeah, 3 is like the absolute bare minimal mines that you need, and even that can be dealt with quite easily by the Protoss player. So sometimes 3 doesn't even feel like enough, and we will be seeing not only mines, but sometimes even a quick engineering bay being thrown down behind that. She does know that there's an expansion first, so she knows it's not crazy super fast DD timing. So like now would be the DTs if it was just one base tech, it'd be like 5 minute 15, 5 minute 20. But instead we're going to be seeing this expansion first, so the DTs will be much slower. So has a whole extra minute of breathing room basically to get set up. So that's why Monster's not in pure panic mode yet, and we see a much more cautiously calm approach here.
Well, she really does need to get moving pretty soon. She's only got one mine here in the natural ready for this DT, which is walking across the map right now. And yeah, she's bringing the Dragoon to eat shots just in case. There are some forward mines here, but there aren't any. Just one mine sitting here behind the bunker. I think the DT can walk straight through this, and the second DT going to come out across the map as well. Ooh, Monster going to be in a little bit of trouble here.
Yeah, I think Monster could be in a little bit of trouble. There's this like anti-Reaver setup in the main base, but with the mines here behind the gas, she will just eat these mines and actually be fine in this case. So actually not too big a deal. These like anti-Reaver mines are actually like good for dealing with DTs as well. So yeah, actually it's going to be paying off a little bit for Monster here. There is another DT coming into Natural Expansion soon, and turret's only just now starting, so some damage can be done into Natural Expansion of Monster right now as DT comes in and delays this turret from going down. Meanwhile, the dropship into the main base now with these Vultures is going to be putting a lot of pressure onto Kim as well.
Yeah, this drop is going to be huge. Kim getting quite a bit of damage going, but this could do even more. 4 Vultures in the main, just starting to ravage this economy. Kim does realize that it's here, but she might end up walking into this mine as well. Going after the dropship. Okay, the Vultures are just not being microed right now because there's too much going on back at home. She's really desperately trying to handle this. Should just pull the SCVs out of the natural and deal as much damage as possible, though, because this could deal critical damage to the Protoss economy. Looks like she's already lost 2 Vultures. All the buildings have been destroyed here in the natural. The command center not collecting minerals here. The SCVs have been pulled. Does have some more mines here at the front. She's actually going to run forward and run into the mines with the oh my god, getting into the natural as well. There's so much going on right now, but I think she's going to get critical damage. Oh god, just not quite with the micro here. I guess I don't know what else I should expect from the level of player here. The tier 2 ladies are really struggling in this type of situation, as most of us would.
Yeah, I mean, if you and me were playing, say, we'd be struggling pretty much the exact same way here. But yeah, unfortunately, this DT did way too much damage, and we were focused so hard on dealing with it. We should have just evacuated the natural expansion, drilled all the SCVs to the main base, and focused purely on Vulture micro, killed as many probes as possible in the main and natural expansion, and then retaken our expansion and played a normal game out from there, taking a very huge economic lead in that situation. We do have a tech lead for Kim as well. These arbiters are almost going to be coming out momentarily, and that's going to be a nightmare situation for Monster to try and come back in this game from there.
Oh, no academy. Oh, there it is. There's the academy. She can build the comm set. She really needs to build the comm set here and stop taking damage. She had a really great opportunity. Oh, she does get it. Okay. Ooh, that was really close. almost not being able to get rid of that DT. She will be able to land and resaturate that natural, but now I feel like Kim is ahead. If those 4 vultures had done a bit more damage and she had pulled out a little quicker, I think that Monster would have had a really good hold here. But as things stand, Kim, she feels like she's just got a better situation right now.
Yeah, she's going to be taking this third base at 3 o'clock momentarily. Arbiter's already out with enough stasis as well, so we're going to have a bit of stasis available for Kim. Could even, if she wanted to, just like bank up for a very quick recall into the main, right as a monster over here thinks she's going to be able to take her third or try and go for some kind of push, like just to recall into the main to shut that down right away. Like that's another possibility here, but just the straight up stasis is going to be more than enough value for her, I think, going forward as well. So I think Kim's definitely in a very comfortable position tech-wise, but Monsters actually did reserve quite a large amount of those SCVs, so still has a quite potent economy to boot for the time being, despite these additional gateways being thrown down for Kim.
Well, we've got a Wraith out here now. She's checking around for that Arbiter. It's sitting right over here in front of the natural, so maybe she can come in and deal a little damage to that, or... I guess she's just going to wait over here for incoming recall and try to catch that Arbiter as it's flying over the impassable terrain. It looks like it's flying out right now, or is that an observer down at the bottom center? I think that's an observer. Oh, no, there's an Arbiter. Can he actually, can she get the moving shot here? Oh, she's getting some damage on this. There's not enough mines, though, in the main base. Gonna fly right in on top of the SCVs, and... one mine does connect, a second mine does connect as well, dealing quite a bit of damage to this SCV, but with all the tanks sieged up right here, this was cleaned up incredibly well by Monster.
Yeah, really dealt with that exceptionally well, did Monster. And I'm kind of surprised. I actually thought that she would go for a play like that with the fast recall into the main, but it was very... it wasn't very well executed, and she got like a pretty pure Dragoon army, which is pretty good for a recall, but yeah, just kind of like got boxed up and just splattered by the siege tanks there. I thought it was an observer first, because you really should kind of check ahead of the Arbiter, make sure you get a good recall spot, and I'm kind of shocked that she went for that so blindly, but yeah, Monster seems to be in the mood for punishing these kinds of plays. We saw the mine setup earlier, punishing the DT drop, the GT in the main, sorry, and now we've got this punishing the recall. There's a lot of life in this game for Monster now.
Maybe there is no observer right now because, you know, we did skip that Robotech for quite some time to get this Arbiter out so quickly. So sacrificing quite a bit to get that really fast recall, it didn't pay off. So Kim is in a bit of trouble here as the army moves forward for Monster. Is she just going to take a position out here and try to take, you know, a couple more bases, or is she just going to push straight across the map? It's looking like a push right now, and I don't think that Kim is fully prepared for this. She might not have stasis finished, but she does have the energy for it. There's 2 Arbiters here that are ready, so it'll really come down to the splitting of tanks if that stasis is available, and yeah, whether those stasis can land on really good clumps of tanks or not. Here comes... oh my god, this is so clumped up. 1 stasis? Does she have it? I think she does. Or is she going for a recall? There it is, stasis on 3 tanks. Not bad, but not the greatest either. And it looks like Monster's gonna hold here.
Yeah, it looks like Monster's gonna just barely hold, maybe, but with the way the goons are positioning on top of the tanks, might be able to kill a fair few of them off. There is a Zealot as well to soak up a couple of these shots to get some splash damage. There's the splash hit I was waiting for, killing 2 of those siege tanks off. So even though Monster's going to be holding here, still going to be losing a sizable amount of these siege tanks. Any moment now, these ice cubes are going to become unfrozen though, and the rest of these Dragoons will go splat maybe though. So Kim needs to pull back right now because the cubes are just about to come out. But maybe she kill these 2 tanks while they do.
Wow. Yeah, stasis lasts for such a long time. Sometimes you forget, not watching TVP very much recently, but and not really seeing too many Arbiters as of late. It's kind of fallen off, but you can see how powerful it is. She shuts down this attack and has a ton of money in the bank here to work with as well. With this 3rd base online, she's looking very nice now.
Yeah, I mean, everything's going Kim's way. She's ahead in supply, ahead in tech. She hasn't got the greatest of map control right now, but because she squashed the push, it doesn't really matter. She's basically free to do as she pleases. She can put a lot of pressure on now, stop this third base from going up from Monster, or she could even just elect to take her own fourth base now, maybe even set up in the other main base and get another rally point going. That's also another a good play here from this position, but so far, Monster being very active on the map with these vultures, going to maintain some kind of map control and counter attack potential here. Meanwhile, looks like Kim looking to try and come in here and do some damage.
Can't get that mind drag there. Would have been nice to pull that onto all the vultures. One stasis goes down. There's only one tank here, but this is a majority zealot army, so running into a ton of vultures and stasising the tank is not going to net any positive results here. And it looks like Kim wants to take that base you were talking about to start setting up this other rally point in the top center.
Yeah, it's definitely a wise choice here. We do have some vultures already on their way to try and snipe this probe and delay this from becoming a reality here. And it is kind of annoying if you get these probes sniped over and over again as you try and train them over to set up the infrastructure, build the gateways and so on. It is very annoying to have to deal with that as a pros player, but nonetheless, eventually we'll be getting this other rally point set up. And yeah, kind of unfortunate that she went for this attack at the natural. I don't think she should have gone for that. I think she should have like maintained game state and just contained the Terran from coming out onto the map and delaying the third while also getting this fourth base set up.
That's pretty funny that she actually stasised her own shuttle there as well. That just got picked off. This is not a very well defended base over here in the center right. That's making me a little nervous for Kim. If we have like a full raid, like 10, 12 vultures like these going into that center right base, she's gonna lose a lot. But actually, gonna go for the Nexus over at the top center while this recall's coming into the main base. Gonna do once again on top of the SCVs here, it looks like, and a second Arbiter as well. A second Arbiter was gonna go for, it looks like a what's it called, a stasis on that little ramp area there, the entrance to the base, but wasn't able to get over there in time, didn't have enough HP, so she loses 2 Arbiters and this full army for hardly any damage. I don't see a single building that went down there, and she pulled the SCVs pretty darn quick, so that was a very questionable decision here from Kim to throw away that much army in that recall.
Yeah, both recalls have been shut down rather expertly by Monster. It does seem Monster is very well prepared for any kind of play like that. Also does have them armories in separate bases to prevent both dying at the same time. But hold the phone, because all these vultures, like you said, coming to third base location, only 1 cannon is not enough to defend. Even 2 cannons would go down to these vultures with attack upgrades. So now there's going to be so many of these probes, is Kim. They're going down to these vultures rapidly. The 3 Dragoons here to try and intercept and prevent further damage. But with some good micro, Monster going to be coming up here and target firing a few more of these probes down at the natural high ground expansion here. Not quite getting all of them, but doing enough damage to be quite annoying to Kim. There's a lot of gateways, though, behind this Protoss. So if there could just be a few more probes made over the next few minutes, and maybe here Kim can somehow outmuscle Monster from this game. But I'm not sure where this command center is going. I think she misclicked here a little bit, saying it's kind of floating over like it's lost tempo into the other corner of the map.
Yeah, just a small mistake there. She will have to pull that back, adding on a lot more turrets here into the main. She's really taking the threat of recall seriously, and I definitely understand that because, you know, Kim has been so insistent on, you know, flying in and just going for these recalls despite the setup already being there. Another command center going to be built here by Monster. She's really going to take this into a long game. Looks like we're going to come forward now with 2 stasis on this 1 Arbiter and no EMP to actually deal with that. This could be a real problem for Monster. She's got pretty stacked up tanks here in the bag, and we could see some really big stasis on these.
Yeah, they're very well clumped up. So she thinks she just notices now she needs to be more fluid with these tanks and bring them up closer to this mineral only as well. She needs to hold on to the CC. Doesn't want to let it die for free. The SP train's coming in now. There's so many Protoss infantry. She can have to evacuate and float the CC away. So many of these tanks going down in the front line, but maybe you'll be able to hold this position here against this onslaught. Will not be coming down here besides trying to snipe the CC, but we'll get this CC for her effort, and that's actually going to be quite a big sizable pick off because it does slow down the economic growth of Monster right now, and as a Terran player in this matchup, in this moment, you really need to grow, and she's being hampered from doing that. And that's the one thing Monster needs to do right now. She is currently ahead in supply and actually in a very favorable game state. If she can somehow maintain this, she has got more CCs being made, if I'm not mistaken. So she can still keep this economic curve going. But it's going to be tough for her if she doesn't float this other CC soon and get this third base going. She's pretty much mined out now, so.
Yeah, that was a big mistake. You really need to, while you're taking that third base, set mines up a little bit to the north there and spread your tanks a little bit farther up. Like, this is not that much more space to take over there. But keeping everything clumped up here is just, it's the wrong choice all around. You don't want your tanks clumped because you can get stasis and broken. And you want to be spread out anyway so that you can cover this base. So a little bit of an error there from Monster. May end up losing her this game, actually, because like you said, she just doesn't have any mining anymore. And this CC is floating out so slowly. There we go. Now we've got some mines up here. She needs to rotate some tanks as well. Cover that position. Maybe she needs to take a page out of the Book of Mind here and just double expand after losing this expansion.
I would really like to see her double expand, saying it's pretty much the only thing she can do to like really guarantee coming back in this game in a strong way. She already has a very strong army right now out on the field, and it will be some time before Kim can be maxed out, so it would be very wise for her to just double expand. She does obviously have this scouting information herself, and we have the luxury as casters to see that information, so we can't really fault her totally for that. But yeah, it would have been really nice if she just was a little more greedy with these expansions. And now though, we're going to be seeing a lot of forces from Kim rolling into this false high ground here. The Dragoons can see up this ramp and shoot up it without any mischance. The Zealots now getting on top of these siege tanks. The turrets gunning down all these observers though, so the mines now will be very annoying if she continues this assault. But I don't think Kim's going to want to continue on forever here. I think she just wants to come in here, mop up all of these tanks, and then back out again and keep siphoning off as many of the tanks from the Terran army as she can to keep this threat as low as possible and much more manageable here going forward. I think Kim's in a driving seat position right now.
Yeah, that was a little bit bad by Monster. She really needs to move her army together and respond to where the Protoss is attacking a little bit faster, because leaving your tanks in a defensive position there towards the center left, I mean, it's good if there's a counterattack, but you've got mines there. You don't really need that many tanks. You need to have a more mobile army, and when you decide to move forward and try to take a base, you've got to move with your whole army to match what the Protoss is doing. Looks like another recall gonna come around here. This could be the killing blow, actually. Kim gonna come in and maybe shut down this third base, possibly for good here. Here comes that recall. Big army on top of all this. Tank immediately explodes, and she could just focus down this command center.
Yeah, she should basically just target down this CC. She has enough Dragoons here, and you do want a very Dragoon-heavy recall. You definitely don't want a pure Zealot recall, so really good composition of units here to be recalled as well. Just barely enough to not only kill the CC, but then be really annoying to mop up afterwards the fact as well, and delaying this from being set up for quite some time. And there's no money in the bank for Monster right now. She's struggling to get anything from this this kind of false high ground expansion that she's got, but that will only last for like 5 to 8 minutes here for her. She's not even got that CC landed right now. She's long distance mining it. She's completely distracted dealing with these excursions here to the north, that she hasn't even landed this CC at this natural third here, and that means she's been basically not even mining for this entire time. So
this is rough, but we are really seeing that first pick for the Bisu squad coming in really clutch once again. Kim able to pull out this game, even though it was looking a little bit dicey, as it has in several others before this. Kim has managed to overcome. She's really proven herself at the top of that tier 2 ladies squad, and looks like she is going to be able to take down Monster here. We're just waiting for the finishing blow now. Over 80 supply ahead of her Terran opponent. Terran just barely mining on this one base here and kind of cowering in this location. There's really nowhere she can go right now. She can't push to any location, and she can't really take another base right now. She's just barely got any money. She's waiting for Kim to throw herself into this And a big recall coming right on top of this mineral line. The tank splash is going to kill a lot of these SCVs. And even if all the SCVs don't die... Oh, what was that?
Is that? That's got to be a troll, right? Is she trolling? That's got to be a troll.
Maybe.
Like,
how did she get a stasis as well? Wait, where did the stasis come from?
250 energy.
But she did 2 recalls there, didn't she? She did 1 recall on the...
2 arbiters, right?
Did she have 2 arbiters there?
I think so.
Oh my goodness. All right. We're gonna jump into our game number 2. That was kind of a wacky game. Okay, on to the main course. We've got Sock versus Mighty. Mighty over here in the top right. Sock in the top left. We've been expecting a lot of great things from Sock. And mostly they've just been shown in the KCM. Not really performing properly in the ASL. Even getting knocked out of the qualifier was a big disappointment this season, but he's just continuing to grow.
Yeah, I mean, I want to see more from Suck, definitely. I like this guy for sure. I'm not... Oh, we got a pause from Mighty, interestingly enough. Don't usually see pauses very often, but here we go.
We'll just skip through.
Yeah.
Alright, we're back. Something happened with Mighty. No big deal, though. This is not, this is not the, you know, premier tournament ASL or anything. We're not gonna punish him for doing a pause. Maybe he needed a pee break or something. Maybe the doorbell was ringing. Not sure.
Tear up his programming license right now.
No, we're gonna let him get away with it. He's also possibly gonna get away with the Nexus first here as well. This is pretty punishable, actually. You know what? Looking at this, Sock's put his he's put his barracks on low ground. That makes it really quick to bunker rush. And he's gonna scout this first. Okay, this is looking really good for Sock now.
Yeah, and the probe actually not going to intercept the SCV coming as well. So this actually could be going really well for Sock.
Yeah, he's gonna be able to not reveal that he's got... Okay, actually, there's a second probe. Okay, so he does reveal that that the SCV has found him. And then Mighty, of course, is going to be able to change the direction of his probe, find this SCV. But he's actually not going to bunker it. Look at that. He just goes straight for a command center. Okay. So, Sock, yeah, just realizing that he's probably going to be comfortable taking a very quick command center here rather than bunker rushing.
Yeah, I like that. And he's not going to be getting gas stolen either. So that's going to be a little bit of a boon for him going forward as well. Going basically bunker expand and then also getting your gas not stolen from a close spawn. It's not too bad of a trade. He is 12 Nexus, obviously, so suboptimal in that sense. But to be fair with you, if he goes for any kind of safe 12 Nexus and he doesn't make it, and he makes cuts here, then to be fair, I actually think that Suck won't be too far behind anyway. So we'll have to see how greedy Mighty wants to be with this. So far, only 1 gateway, so wants to be as greedy as possible. But he won't be too far ahead of Suck here in the curve.
Sock only producing 1 Marine. That's pretty greedy. Just 1 Marine and the command center. This is really off of that scout that he got. Finding his opponent first allowed him to make these greedy cuts here. He's only gone for 1 supply depot as well, by the way. So really optimizing his build in that way as well. And first thing we're going to pop out here is a Zealot. Very interesting that Mighty decided to go for a Zealot first. Maybe he was expecting... I don't know what he was expecting to do with this Zealot, honestly.
It's probably just a safety setup, just so that the Marines can't walk up and start killing probes in the natural expansion until Dragoons are ready.
Right.
And also, once the Dragoon pops out, you don't want these 3-4 Marines just walking up and killing your Dragoon with the same reasoning.
Okay. Not very comfortable in this matchup. I've played a lot of Terran versus Protoss, but I've never felt like I totally had a grasp on it. It's very complicated. There's a lot of back and forth, and especially when it comes to cutting different things as the Terran player. What you can get away with is a very, very fine line, but I think Sokka's walking that beautifully in this game. Gonna get that SCV in there. Oh, he had it on a mine command, and he's gonna be able to scout the robo. So more information here for Sok. More cuts can be made. He knows what he's up against here.
Yeah, for the players at home, basically what you can do here with the SCV scout, or any scout really, is once you're in the main base, you can say click it to the other side of the map and then shift click it back to the mineral. So he'll go and leave the base and come back a minute later and slide through anything blocking the ramp to be able to come in and do a confirmation scout. Unless he gets killed on the way, he's basically guaranteed to scout the main base. So always a nice way. You can also do that by sending a second SCV to the base before the first one dies, if it is going to die as well. So good way of guaranteeing a scout, even if there is going to be a block.
Yeah. Stargate. Okay. Going into a Stargate from here. Is this going to be a carrier play off of 2 base?
It looks like it.
Yeah, I think we're going to have Reaver here to kind of slow things down. And then straight on into carrier. How do you feel about carrier on retro?
I think it can be very strong. It's very niche. It's a very big, wide open center though, so I think it's definitely very fightable for Terran here. But I think the way the expansions are divided up, I think it actually is kind of tough for the Terran to maneuver their Goliaths around these edges of these edge bases, like 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 9 o'clock. So I actually think it kind of favors the Protoss in the way they can exploit the terrain. It's just very difficult to move your carriers from one side of the map to the other. With these close spawns, actually carriers work really nicely. So if it was, say, cross maps, obviously I would say carriers are really awkward here. But honestly, with the close spawns and on this horizontal axis, carriers actually are advantage here, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right in that assessment. Maybe the best kind of counter here for the Terran is going to be taking expansions far away from the Protoss. Maybe, like, for example, throwing down a command center in the bottom left-hand corner. That'll be really hard for the carrier player to contend with. But the harassment coming over the natural and the 12 o'clock is going to be ridiculous. Carriers are going to be able to exploit that really, really badly. Yeah, we'll see how this pans out here, but I'm feeling good for Mighty right now, especially since we haven't gotten a scout on this just yet from Sok, and those commands, those comsats finish up here. Is he going to be able to see? Oh, he's actually going to go after this this observer. So using one scan here, and we'll see where that other scan lands, and whether or not he knows about this. It's going to be very, very important.
Well, interestingly enough, him being active with this early robo-tech does kind of force these early scans on hunting down these observers. He kind of understands Sark's playstyle, and he's playing into that right now, kind of hard countering Sark and like metagaming a little bit. Here comes the scan, though, just barely in range to confirm that tech. If only he'd made that setup buildings a little bit further to the left, maybe that would have gone unscouted, but he is going to be confirming that, does see the timing of it, and has got a pretty good reaction time to this. So he's not going to be caught completely with his pants down here, and he has so many factories already. He's going to be able to like shift his gears enough to be somewhat prepared for this, so he won't be a total shutdown from Mighty that maybe he would have been if he'd gone unscouted for just a little bit longer.
Yeah, that could have really changed things had Mighty placed the starports a little bit farther to the left there. Might be a little bit frustrated with himself after that that change there. After placing that in that little bit far to the right position, does have good spots here with the two dragoon armies, but the observers have all been picked off, which is a really key part of pushing forward here with the Terran army. Especially with the number of Goliaths that have been produced and will be produced. You really need to maximize the value out of the few mines that you're going to have, and that's best done by getting rid of the observers first. We don't have any mines, though, in the front just yet, and this is going to be a great attack from Mighty. He's getting right on top of these tanks immediately. The mines get dealt with very, very quickly. Tanks are going to siege up once again, and Mighty backing away perfectly after taking out a few tanks. This is a great play from him. He's even going to jump back in once again as these tanks unsiege. Unfortunately, he loses some of those Dragoons from the right-hand side, but he's delayed this pretty significantly without even using a Reaver or anything. Just pure ground army here.
He's done a fantastic job, and there's actually not a lot of Goliaths out on the map right now. So if he can just buy some more precious seconds here to squeeze out a couple of more of these carriers, eventually he'll start overwhelming this army of Sark. There is a little bit of a clock here for Sark to come in and put on some major pressure, though. And Sark actually here mining 4 SCVs on that natural geyser because the comsat on the right-hand side does make it a little bit inefficient to mine, so has to put on 4 SCVs to get maximum efficiency of 300 gas per minute out of that as well. So he's trying to squeeze out every drop out of this orange that he can. Meanwhile, though, looks like Mighty doing a very fantastic job of using these very low-tier Dragoon units to slow down the advance of Sark and prevent him from coming in here and getting on top of the process production for quite some time. And now, once we get these 4 carriers online, it's going to be much harder for Sark to engage this. 4 carriers is when these carriers become such a potent force to be dealt with. There's only a few Goliaths out in the front. The rest are at home right now, so Sark can't engage at this present time.
All right, we've got those 4 carriers, but they don't have full interceptors yet. Dealing quite a bit of damage here straight off the bat to that first carrier, already taking away all of its shields. But looks like Sark gonna back away now. No third base here for Mighty just yet, and I think we're gonna be getting a third base in the center left now for Sark. This is still very playable. It's hard to tell who's actually ahead at this point. Of course, Mighty is gonna have that ball rolling now. Whoa, 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 whoa. Starport and a science facility over here in the center left. I guess he's hiding this from Mighty right now.
Yeah, he wants to probably go like mass cloaked race or something to shut this down. He's just trying to like hide this win condition and use it as like a little get out of jail free card and also a little trump card to use later. For the time being, going to be putting whole position on this Goliath count just to ward away and snipe some of these interceptors. He knows that Mighty's not on a big economy right now. He's only on 2 bases. So he knows that with the low carrier count, if he can just snipe off some of these interceptors, it's going to take the fangs out of the Basilisk to kind of make this monster a lot more tenable to deal with and not really put on too much pressure. But he's going to keep coming into the natural expansion with these carriers while the Dragoons pressure the front now. So he has to make sure he has his army well split. And there's a nice little tank line here to ward away Mighty at the front, while also defending any possibility of this 9 o'clock being scouted and dealt with. So he needs to kind of like really thread the needle here on how he manages his units and how he splits his armies, because if he sends too much back to defend at any one time, the Dragoons could just come across the map and take him by surprise. And he's being active with vultures out on the map as well to make sure he gets as much control of this game as possible and keep the pressure on by coming into the see if he can catch some of these probe transfers to the third base. I think he just barely didn't catch it.
Yeah, he's actually managed to make it onto high ground there, but I'm not sure what there is from Mighty to defend. Now an army coming forward. Not enough mines once again here from Sark, and the tank count is getting cleaned up really, really efficiently here. Mighty shoving everything back. Now it's like pure Dragoon fighting against Goliath right now, and that is just never a good situation to be in. The carriers are falling back, just making sure that they don't die right now. They don't really have any interceptors here, but the goons are cleaning up mostly these Goliaths. Gonna be eating some of those mines on the right hand side though, and looks like Mighty's gonna finally be pushed back here, but the tank count's been completely reset, and this base over here in the center left plus that science facility has been revealed.
Yeah, we do have some SCVs in the bottom left quadrant going to be setting up another infrastructure down there. Going to be having another rally point, another ninja expansion for the time being. But this base has been sniffed out by Mighty at 9 o'clock, and some of these Dragoons are going to be a little bit annoying here, come in there and snipe some SCVs. But with the reinforcing army, they're going to be turning around and just trade off as many tanks as possible. So we'll be saving this base at 9 o'clock while also getting this expansion in the bottom left. So going up to 4 bases while Mighty is still only on 3 so far. Looks like Sark really wants to run away with this game, and Mighty might be lagging behind unless he can get something going with these carriers soon.
If the carrier count continues to grow here, I'm still liking Mighty's position personally. That third base is going to come up in the bottom left, and like I mentioned earlier, taking the bottom, the center left, and the bottom left being sniped, like I mentioned earlier, is going to be very hard for Mighty to scout and also to kind of punish. Especially with these carriers, it's going to take a very long time to walk around to fly around the outside of the map and get over that position. But the Goliath count's just not looking very good. The tank count is very, very low here. Mighty continuing to get value at these. He should be expanding a little bit more, though, a little bit more aggressively here, because I don't think that Sock has a push timing anytime soon.
No, and actually, I thought Sark had a lot more Goliaths than he actually does. He's actually in a lot worse position than I initially anticipated. Yeah, he doesn't have many Goliaths at all. So he's actually in real bad shape right now. He won't even be able to hold this gas in the natural expansion. It's looking really rough for him.
Oh, that's a lot of carriers, man. I've been in this situation before, for sure. And whenever the carriers can just sit over top of your natural and hit your gas like that, it happens on a lot of different maps. It's very, very hard to fight back against. And look at this, tanks getting picked off here in the middle as well by the ground army. Just able to fight that ground, or the tank army with the ground army. That's never a good sign either, when the Protoss can just take that head on and still continue to harass you with the carriers at the same time.
Yeah, excuse me, I thought like Sark had at least another like 18 Goliaths in the middle of the map. I didn't realize he was that low on his Goliath count, so I really misheard the situation here. It looks like Sark might just be dead at this rate, because the goons are causing enough of a headache to distract him while the carriers are just going to town in the natural expansion. And denying this gas is pretty huge, and Sark hasn't even taken the time to build the gas in the bottom left yet, so he's actually wants to not lose this gas in the natural expansions. It's kind of painful for him right now. He has got some Goliaths coming from the south to try and pincer from both sides, see if he can start target firing down one of these low HP carriers that's on like yellow health right now, but not even able to do that. Good movement from Mighty, keeping this high ground advantage by just shuffling over his carriers whenever he needs to keep his fleet at bay and not being too aggressive here, and make sure he maintains a high HP on all of those carriers and keeps them nice and healthy while he refills out some Protoss infantry units to come out onto the map and put some pressure and force the Terran player to come out of position yet again, so he can just keep coming in over and over again and just taking more and more chunks out of the Sark here.
Those two tanks that got picked off a little just a moment ago with that carrier snipe is actually going to come into play here pretty big, because there's a small ground army from Mighty kind of moving here through the left towards that base, and if there were two tanks on this high ground, it would be a lot easier to hold on, but this is just pure Goliath now fighting against Dragoon and Zealot, and now the carriers are going to come down to assist as well. All of this is going to be cleaned up, and I think this is the killing blow now.
Yeah, I don't think that he can hold on any longer. He's at that 80 supply. They're finally GG called by Sack. Mighty, wow, nice execution, nice victory. Putting another point on the board here for Team Bisu.
Okay, our only PvP of the night here. It's going to be Best versus Tyson on... What the hell is this map called again? Oh, yeah, Typhoon? No. What is it? Tempest, there you go. Alright, on Tempest here. We've got Best in the bottom right. Tyson in the top right. I'm already surprised. We've already got a upset here with Sock being taken out by Mighty. Let's see if Tyson could do the same here versus Best.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a puncher's chance. Maybe he can slide a mic in front of that Tyson and, you know, just clock Best with, like, the uppercut of the century right now. It'd be really nice to see, but, I mean, Best is the silverback, though. So, I mean, I'm still rooting for my boy Best over here, even though there is 2 points on the board for Team Bisu already, and they could go all the way soon.
You really got me with that, that reference last time. I didn't notice during the cast, but then afterwards while I was editing, there was a Tyson game. I can't remember who he was against, but at the very end of the cast, you said he's gonna drop the mic on Tyson. Yeah. I laughed. Had a good laugh about that after the fact, but
I'm glad you picked up on that eventually. Yeah, I'm really glad you noticed that eventually.
Really weaving in the puns here into every game. I appreciate it very much. We're gonna have double gateway from both players, looks like, and trying to get a block here. Does manage to block one probe in, so Tyson gonna be trapped just a little bit here. Not the hugest deal, but it might force some probes to go behind the mineral patches.
Yeah, mana pylons, generally speaking, are worth it, especially if you get the trapped probe. And sometimes you can chain them and get one over and over and over again, and that's when it does really start to become annoying, because the higher the probe saturation, the more likely it is for the probes to go behind the minerals and really start to mess with the mining even more.
There we go. Return fire here. Tyson gets his own mana pylon in the mineral line of best, but when you're just sitting here producing zealots, it's not as powerful to go for mana pylons because it can deal with them pretty quickly.
Yeah, to be fair, this is only really like the highest value is usually comes when you've got your own zealots putting on pressure, and you can keep their zealots either pinned down or distracted to then further the advantage of that and kind of double dip in that sense. But right now, I think both players are finding tiny advantages in this matchup that they can to try and leverage against one another, and neither player really sizably ahead right now. But I would say there's a tiny edge for Tyson here.
Yes, he did manage to catch 2 probes with that mana pylon, and at a time when the saturation was a bit higher, so I agree with you there. We do have a gas coming down here. I thought that was a gas steal for a second because that red probe was so nearby the extractor there, or the simulator of Tyson. But it is going to be Tyson throwing down that extractor himself, and he's going to go ahead and grab that cybernetics core. We're going to hit into this next stage of the game with Tyson just slightly in the lead right now, although Best does have a bit of a overall supply advantage here.
Yeah, Best will probably find a way of negating that tiny advantage, which is basically why I tried to emphasize how tiny of an advantage it was. It eventually could end up being negligible, but at this caliber of play, you never quite know for sure. But we do have the probe scout right now, not being denied going into the main base of Best right now. So he's seeing everything that's being made. He sees exactly the timing of the expansion. He sees how many zealots were moving out. He is kind of cut off from his own base right now, so it's really annoying for him he has to kind of try and 2-on-1 this zealot if he can help it, but the zealots are kind of positioned quite well from Best, so it's really tough for Tyson to come out here, and he's got to instead just wait for a probe drill to kind of make sure he can come out and deal with this efficiently.
Ooh, really nice probe drill there from Tyson. It looked like it wasn't going to force any of these zealots to dance, but then he sent it to another move command, or another mineral walk command there, down towards the main base of Best, and got on top of those zealots. He did lose a probe or two, but he manages to push this back effectively, and I think that was a really great move by Tyson. The probe drill there, very hard to pull off, but he managed to do it. And now Best is on the retreat here with 2 Dragoons firing on these zealots. He's going to take a worse trade here if he decides to actually fight.
Yeah, it looks like this is a microable situation here for Tyson. He can take advantage of Best right now and just keep going forward with these Dragoons, taking as many shots on these Zealots as possible. It'll be a long time before Zealot legs are available to him, so he can basically just get as much free damage on these units as possible for the time being until Best can finally get Dragoons of his own to deal with this. And he only has 1 up here for the time being, so looks like Tyson is eventually going to turn around and run away, but did get quite a few shots off on those Zealots, making them want to be a lot more passive for the time being, recharge all those shields they lost. So does get a lot of breathing room to Tyson now. Maybe he can kind of make a little cut here, knowing that Best is very unlikely to want to come in to attack him anytime soon. So gives him a lot more room to be a little bit more greedy with his min-maxing as well, and just comfortable in general, because right now he probably feels like he's in a slight edge position. But honestly, they're probably quite even.
We're gonna have a long game here, it's looking like, and I'm so far very impressed with Tyson's play. Like, he has been going toe-to-toe with Best really well here. I thought he was going to be in a much worse position with those zealots kind of blocking that ramp, but the probe drill was nearly perfect. Popping out those Dragoons and really getting that extra damage was awesome as well. And now we've got robotics on the field. I think on both sides we're going to have Reavers here and tons of Dragoons popping out. It's all going to come down to this micro, it looks like, in the mid game.
Yeah, kind of a slight favorable timing on the gateways for Tyson, but not really. Like basically, both players going to be doing more or less the same thing. We have a spotter pylon from Best being thrown out at this sort of like 11 o'clock position as well, just to kind of delay any third base timings from Tyson, as well as scout for any shuttles being sneaky and going around the other way on the map here and going the long way around to come into the main base. So going to be getting as much vision as possible. Here, also throwing another spot a pylon at this other natural third location. So getting as much control over the map as possible is best right now. Setting up another spot pylon, I think, over to the right-hand side as well. Wants to try and catch any shuttles moving out from Tyson. And now maybe just barely, though, missing this army move out from Tyson critically here. And won't really matter, though. The high ground advantage should be enough for Tyson to not be able to make it up here, but we'll be able to set up maybe a little bit of a soft contain for the time being. I might be able to delay this probe coming out and expanding, but so far the observer got scattered, sniped, and also the probe managed to get out on the map, so I don't think Tyson's going to be able to do anything here to slow down Best, and we're going to have a quite a long game like you're predicting, Sam.
Ooh, I'm actually shocked right now. Oh, okay, hold on a second. Dragon's trying to push up this high ground. Even though there's more Dragons here from Best, it looks like Tyson takes the better end of that trade. We'll catch this bro over here on the right-hand side as well. And I'm shocked because we don't have Reavers coming here from Tyson. Instead, he's going to be going into High Templar. Not what I was expecting. I thought that both players were going to go into Reaver, and we're going to have a Reaver on Reaver micro battle. That's not going to be the case. Instead, we're going to see Tyson going for this a bit more risky play, I feel, but it does have more impact if you decide to go for, you know, drops on the... Oh, wait a second. He's going to see it. Oh, just barely not able to get even a single shot on that. And the Reaver's going to get here into the main. It's going to get a huge hit. 5 kills already. Now up to 7. Should be able to evacuate the base here as well. So already this Reaver decision from Best actually paying off huge. Looks like he's probably going to get the shuttle and the Reaver here. Does manage to pick that off without losing any army units, but you know, about 7-8 kills on some probes. Still pretty good for the first dive in from Best.
Yeah, definitely got him a little bit of value there. Paid some dividends for his investment. Going to be working out quite in his favor. The one thing I will say is that Templar tech does come out ahead in the long run. It is a bit of an investment, and you have to take your time with it. The Reaver player will have an advantage for some time, but once you get those storms out, it's actually much better to be the storm player. You have a lot more splash damage to work with. You can be much more controlled with it and just throw down the storms onto the big pockets of goons, or actually the Reavers themselves. And the Reavers are so slow, they need to be microed. So yeah, the storms work really well against Reaver goons. So we have a DT actually making its way to natural expansion. There's nothing here to detect it, saying, so a lot of damage could be done into the main base right now. The Canadon, he's just now warping in. He's going to better get some. Oh, he's barely going to be denied it, saying.
It looks like he can get about like 4 or 5 probes probably before the cannon warps in. Goes for a couple of the gas probes. Gonna just kind of wander around the base here. Look for some probes that might be easy to snipe as well. Second DT trying to make it into the natural. Looks like it's going to be denied. Oh, no. Second DT does manage to get in here. Oh, some Dark Templar coming out for Best as well. Looks like he's managed to go to Templar tech here. And no cannon in the main for Tyson, so he could potentially get massive damage of his own with his own DTs here. However, Best's army is huge right now. He's probably got less probes, and his army supply is ahead. So this army coming up here might be able to come forward and actually contain Best. But how much damage will he take in the main base here? He's going straight for the Nexus. Oh boy. This is gonna get crazy. Tyson gonna try and break up this ramp, it looks like.
Yeah, he's going to basically sacrifice that Nexus. It looks like he just wants to bust up the ramp and do as much damage as he can. He has a lot of surface area to work with. There are some Templars for both sides, but the tech is too slow for Best. He's making Archons right now, whereas Tyson, he's waiting for Storms. It's the first beautiful Storm. Psionic Storm leveraging a lot of damage onto those units, and he has a beautiful arcing with these goons on the right-hand side as well. Another beautiful Storm on the top of the ramp to make it really hard for Best to come up onto this position, onto this high ground to fight against this. He's basically going to sacrifice his whole natural position, and that's really going to be tough for Best. He's lost so much best right now. Tyson in a very commanding position, and he's locked out Best from this third base. I think he's done it. I think Tyson has knocked him out here, saying.
Oh, this is so crazy. Best sent like nearly his entire army into the main base to deal with those DTs that were there. And Tyson just runs up onto the high ground, takes this beautiful position. This is the problem, you know, with these high ground naturals is, yes, they are great for defending, but if your opponent manages to suddenly jump on top of it and steal the high ground away from you, then it's so hard to push back against that, push out onto your own natural. And now Tyson has Best completely locked down on one base, but he's also on one base as well, mind you. There isn't a main base here for Tyson at the moment. Nice storm there as well.
Yeah, but the arm of the Silverback has been broken. He's fighting with just one arm right now, trying desperately to claw his way back out onto this high ground position and secure himself in the jungle yet again. But right now, he's not looking like he's the king right now. It looks like instead we see Tyson wanting to kind of just like throw the mic at him and hit him on the head as hard as he can and try and knock this Skrilla out once and for all. He's looking like he can do it though. Double the supply right now. There is a High Templar in the shuttle. Gets taken out though, the shuttle. There is a High Templar, but no Storm to be seen. And with this Reaver going down, there's not really any splash damage. Finally calls out GG. Wow, 3 points on the board for Team Bisu. Best is just getting cleaned up right now.
Unbelievable. Another upset here, and in our PvP match as well, with the team leader Best getting wiped out by Tyson. How are they going to be able to come back? Gonna find out. Coming right up. Right on into our next game here. We've got Bora in the top left-hand corner versus Senna. She's got some heavy lifting to do here. A lot of weight on her shoulders as Team Bisu is just 2 games away from closing out this series.
Yeah, it's looking kind of crazy, isn't it? Like 3 points on the board. Like Team Best just looks like they don't have an answer right now. Saying it's looking quite dire for them. Honestly, I wouldn't want to be in the dugout for Team Best right now in this situation. There's a lot of pressure on anyone's shoulders coming out right now. Everyone pretty much has to win their games to. Or feels the pressure they have to win the games to like to come back and like somehow have a spot in this third place. Otherwise, they're just going to be like feeling like they're just losers. They're saying.
There's not a whole lot on the line for this third place match. The top 2 teams are going to be. The first and second place are going to be seeded into the grand finals of this tournament. Number 3, I don't think they really get much out of this win, but they're going to be fighting for their pride regardless. And yeah, I agree with you. Being the best dugout is probably not a good feeling right now. The last 2 matchups are Bisu and Mini, so those are going to be some rough games to play and try to win here. We'll see if 815 and his other teammate, I can't remember who it is, 815 and yeah, his teammate can pull this one out.
Yeah, I mean, it's more and more looking like that Bisu versus Light finals that I really want to see, and I can't say I'm either surprised or unhappy about that, and I'm more for that. And if that is going to be the case, then more power to it. And we're going to be seeing the drone scout just coming over here and confirming exactly what's going on. Wants to also make sure there's no gas behind this, so needs to know that there's not going to be any kind of a fast vulture play to worry about. No need to make a creep colony at 3 minutes 30 or anything like that. It's going to be putting this spawning pool down on the left of the hatchery to the top so that you can slightly optimize the mining patches there. It does work on some maps, not all, but gives you a slight mining boost here, confirming the timing of that CC with the drone, which gives you a very understandable range of play from the Terran player. By what timing they take that CC, you can kind of glean exactly what they did behind that, so there's no way there could be a factory hidden out on the map now. With the timing of that CC being at like 2 minutes 50, for example, he would know that this is basically a 1-rax FE here.
It's very important as a Starcraft 1 player to, and really any RTS, to be able to look at your opponent's build and rule out certain things that couldn't possibly be happening. And just like you said, she's ruled out the possibility of any sort of early tank here just from the speed of the CC. She's only going to have to build a few lings just to make sure that if there was constant production on that barracks, that 4 or 6 Marines don't just walk across the map and do huge damage to her. But she's gonna deal with that SCV, and now you can't really move out with those Marines because you just don't know how many lings are being produced here, and that gives that gives a Zerg player a lot of leeway here with which to just build up that drone count and get into this Spire play.
Absolutely, and being able to get away with not having to make any creep colonies early game is a big deal. You want to delay making creep colonies as long as possible, if at all, and that will also help be a boon for the economy of the Zerg player here. Coming forward, we'll be able to get Mutalisks out on time and cause a lot of pressure here. So really important to make sure she hits these timings, so the pressure of the Mutalist doesn't get lost, because it is no point really going for a 2-hatch Mutalist play if you're not actually going to apply any pressure and start sniping Marines, start sniping SCVs building turrets and put the pressure on you might as well just go for a more macro-centric 2.5 or 3-hatch play. And it's going to be coming into natural expansion and putting a little bit of pressure on these SCVs and forcing some slides as well, so slowing down the mining and also slowing down the turret timing here as well can be quite good for the Zerg play here. It's kind of, you might be looking at this and thinking, why isn't she just like sending the Marines over to the right hand side to kill the SCVs? Well, to kill these lings. Well, one, that's APM intensive, and two, there could be like 20 more speedlings waiting to come in as soon as she moves the Marines over to the right. So she wants to be very careful about that.
Well, that was a pretty good micro there from Senna with the links, but unfortunately she sacrificed her gas economy pretty heftily there, not getting that gas mining going until the Spire was actually finished, which is definitely not what you want to do in this situation. So go ahead and run into the main here, maybe slow down this SCV building, the eBay, just barely not. But Firebats will be able to clean that up eventually here, and the Muta count is not going to be high as what it should be coming out of Senna here with this first engagement.
Yeah, I actually didn't notice that saying. Good catch. Yeah, I was wondering like why the timing of her minerals and stuff were not lining up right for a second, and yeah, it looks like she missed out on like mining a good like 300 to 400 gas there. You basically mine about 300 gas per minute with a full optimization on those gases. So yeah, if you didn't mine that for an entire minute, that's 300 gas just gone and no longer existing in this game for her. So 3 meters down for nothing would be a big deal, maybe even more if she wasn't mining for quite some time, and now not going to be able to come in here and put the pressure on that she needed to get an advantage out of this tech timing of these mutas. Does now have 8 mutas to come into the natural expansion and start sniping SCVs. With 7 you can start one-shotting these SCVs, and it's going to be running for a very quick Queen's Nest. Could be coming in with a Guardian play here, maybe a Hydra Guardian would be a nice choice here in these positions, or could go into Crazy Zerg here. Either would work from here, I would say, Sam. But what would you think? Do you think Guardians or Crazy Zerg? I think Guardians, maybe.
I don't see an evolution chamber, so I think it's going to be Guardians. With the 600 minerals in the bank, I would love to see Senna drop another hatchery here, just to have that extra larva. And look at that, I mean, larva, we've got 6 larvae sitting here without not really producing anything at this moment, and she's not supply blocked at all. So I don't know what's going on with Senna. Maybe some nerves coming in here, but she's definitely not playing at her pinnacle right now, at her peak, missing quite a bit of this build, and she's doing a good job with the control. Obviously her control is quite good here, and she's doing some decent damage, but she's just not getting these extra things online. She's not getting her economy online properly. She's not transitioning properly here either. I guess it is definitely going to be a Guardian play now. We still don't have that evolution chamber, so that is going to be a threat, but if you don't have the economy behind it, it's just not going to be nearly as much of a threat as it could be.
Now, I do agree with her choice to go Guardians here, but she needs to go Hydra Guardian. I'm not so sure about just going straight up Guardian here. She needs Hydra Guardian, I think. And yeah, this could be really risky for her. Just to do pure Guardians, that's really risky, especially when she's very mineral heavy right now as well. So Hydras makes sense. So I don't know why she's not going for that. If she does go pure Guardian, she could just like, oh, there's the Hydra Den, but it's so late. It's at 8 minutes 30. It's a little bit on the late side. I think she still might be okay if she can like just get some good this micro going. Maybe it won't matter too much, but yeah, I think that she is kind of doing the Hydra as an afterthought, but she needs a little bit earlier to get the Hydra speed and the Hydra range on the way, so that she has a very strong 11-minute timing, and she's not going to quite hit that. She's slightly off for that timing, I think. So as long as there's not very quick Valkyries, I think she'll be okay.
This build feels like kind of unpracticed to me. Like Senna, maybe she was trained a little bit by some of her team members to do this build, but just didn't have enough time potentially to really practice it up and get it in her head exactly the timings of when things need to go down. And I mean, the gas is kind of inexcusable, not getting that gas early enough. But it just feels like an unpracticed build here. It feels like a build that you've only done a couple of times, and you're just kind of learning it still, and everything's not really fitting together properly yet. And Bora's doing the perfect response here. She's pushing forward, not being too aggressive, not allowing her entire Mutalist group or her entire Marine group to go down, but making sure that she has a forward position so that the Guardians can't morph right in her face when they're ready to do so.
Yeah, she's going to force the Guardians to morph in a very awkward position, which will then either be easy to counteract or easy to punish. Right now, it's only be morphing like 4 or 5 at a time, while the rest of the mutas keep the bio back at bay. So not going to be going up to the critical mass of Guardians. She needs to just roll over this position. She really wants to go to like 8 or so Guardians right now and just roll over this entire position. I think she's got about 10. Yeah, 10 is really optimal. 10 to 12 is really optimal here right now. If she can also get about 12 to 24 Hydras in reserve coming forward, it's been very hard to stop, and Senna might actually be in a position just to win this game straight up if she can somehow mobilize the Hydra Guardian appropriately here.
Looks like gonna run by. I really like this decision from Bora. Just gonna head towards the natural. You have to respect this because there are no sunken colonies at home, and there's a long trail of reinforcements coming up here. I don't know what she's gonna do. She's not actually moving the Guardians right now. She really needs to either like attack the natural and just go for it, or come back and try to kill this army. And actually, Bora doing the wrong decision as well. Gonna chase this army. Flanking it is good, but I think just going straight for the natural, killing the natural in the main would have probably been better. Looks like she's probably gonna lose her own natural at this point, and trading out natural for natural, or natural for main and natural of the Zerg would actually be much better. Look at the Guardians just wreck these Marines, and now there's no potential for a counterattack anymore.
Okay, but I'm not sure if she got Cloak or not, but if she got Cloak, there is no Overlords here. But she hasn't actually researched Cloak. If she'd only researched Cloak, she'd better kill all of these Guardians for basically free. There is no Overlord here to detect these raves. So if she'd chosen Cloak as her tech choice to counter the Guardians, it actually would have worked out really nicely for her. Instead, though, she doesn't have that, and then now there's a chance for Senna just to overrun this position. There's so many Guardians just raining down shots onto the bio that comes out from these barracks here, and any forces that do leak out are being quickly dealt with so far. So it's looking really good for Senna, and more units coming up. GG finally called, and that's going to be a point for Team Best finally here, Sam.
Damn, all right. Senna managed to pull out the Guardian build here and get that win. It really felt like a bit sloppy, like she wasn't quite sure how to execute that build, but she did a really good job with the mutas, constantly fighting with those Marines, killing off as many as she could. And I think Bora's response was a little bit mediocre as well. I thought she was going for the counterattack, but she didn't. And now Senna has brought back Team Best, brought some life, breathed some life into this team here in this third place match. We've still got a long way to go for them. Let's jump into our next game. Set number 5 here, going to be Bisu versus 815. This is the match we've been looking forward to, right, Shun? And I mean, Apocalypse is a great map for PvZ. We've seen some really fantastic matches here. I don't think this is going to be any different.
Yeah, I mean, already these two teams have been eliminated from the tournament essentially, but they are going to be fighting for that third spot, a little honorary position there, making sure they don't feel like total losers. And it's not always going to be the worst case to be taking home the bronze medal, and both teams would like to be able to do that. And have a gateway expansion coming out from Bisu here against 11 hatch from A15. So as long as he doesn't lose a single drone here early, I'm sure he'll be very happy with finding this early advantage of getting this 11 hatch pretty much unpunished. But Bisu is not the kind of guy to like, you know, just let you get away with greed in this matchup. So who knows what's going to happen later on. We do see particle beam shots being thrown down onto this drone. Another drone being pulled off the line from A15. Knows he has to come and escort this drone to be able to make sure this third base does go online, because the drone is just so much weaker to the probe in the 1v1. So you need 2 free shots on that probe to even win the 1v1. So going to be wisely escorting that with a drone to make sure that goes up on time while the Zealot starts to make his way over here. So
Zealot gonna make its way to the third base. Is there a good place to tuck your Zealot at the third? Yeah, it looks like there's some pretty decent locations here to hide that behind the mineral patches. So these are just gonna make a nuisance of himself at that third, damaging the hatchery and then hiding behind the mineral patches when the time comes. Second Zealot coming up here as well, gonna do the same. And there's just not enough lings here right now. And once there's enough lings out on the field, we're going to have another Zealot coming across the map most likely. And that'll probably be sent over towards the natural just to even make more of a problem here for 815. Oh, decent surround so far. Getting some good damage, but nice backing away from Bisu. He slips in between those mineral patches, and that's just not going to be an easy location to dislodge him from.
Yeah, 815 is a very tricky player, not someone you want to be too aggressive against. So Bisu will have to be cautious when dealing with this kind of beast and make sure he's well contained going forward and not able to get away with any kind of shenanigans. So he needs to be very careful with how he maneuvers around for the time being until he gets into that sort of mid-game phase where he's much more in control of the game state and has got a lot of speed Zealots out on the map to cause pressure. And right now, though, Bisu trying to make sure he survives this early game precarious situation where he doesn't quite know what's going on in A15's base right now. There could be a Hydra den, there could be Hydras about to be morphed and, you know, starting to come out onto the map and put pressure onto him. You know, just slightly unlikely because he hasn't lost too many Zealots right now, and A15 is unlikely to go for a Hydra bust while he hasn't lost that many Zealots early on. But look at this beautiful surround from A15 coming in and cleaning up these Zealots quite cost efficiently. Not the best of trades. Bisu does actually manage to get a nice trade on that Zealot, managed to get 2 kills for its trouble. But overall, that does favor A15 a little bit here. And Bisu now with just 4 Zealots remaining, going to be coming onto the map again, forcing some more of a Ling response from 815 and make sure he can't be too greedy with these drones right now.
Yeah, and he actually still doesn't know what's going on in 815's base, right? He saw the links, but again, there could be a Hydra's den right now. He's gonna send this is like the confirmation Zealot right now. What are you actually doing? He really wants to get this Zealot in towards the main base. It's gonna get completely denied here, and then those 3 other Zealots are gonna make their way over to the third. Let's see if they can get any damage while this distraction's happening.
Yeah, they're going to be delaying the mining here for some time, so stopping 5 drones from mining is actually a pretty sizable amount of damage to do to A15 for the present being, and also that probably won't dictate too much of the game right now, but it's a little bit painful to lose out on a lot of that mining timing. He will make him slower in throwing down these macro hatcheries. Will take him a little bit longer to get into that 6 hatchery production that he wants to get up into. He does have a lot of gas right now starting to bank up, but he only has 1 gas available to him, so I don't think he's going to be going for an Ogre Zerg style. Meanwhile, they're cleaning up these Zealots quite cost efficiently with these Zerglings, so he's going to be very happy about that. Bisu not going to be able to have too many units to come out onto the map and put pressure on him. Ooh, there's a cancel there on, I think that was an Evolution Chamber or a Hydra Den. I think he, after killing all those Zealots, he realizes that he can now be super greedy, and he's going to just hide the Hydra Den at a different location and just throw down more macro production.
I'm surprised that Bisu wants to go for a kill on this Overlord here. I think that Scourge should be able to pop out in time, right? No, I guess not. We're going to be able to get that Overlord kill and get out scot-free, so a nice job by Bisu there. He doesn't see the Hydra's den, though. It was moved over here to the third base. And I wanted to mention that those 3 Zealots coming into the third, they saw 5 drones. That's almost enough information in and of itself, actually. Seeing those 5 drones there, he knows that it's not going to be a Hydraless attack, and that really saves him from having to build extra cannons just to be safe. from that bust, and Bisu really taking control of this match now. He's seen everything, he knows everything, and he can really play his game from here.
Yeah, but it seems like 815 is really trying to sell him like I'm going to go for some kind of Ogre Zerg style here, or at least go for
Hmm.
Mutalisks to snipe Templars. So he's really trying to sell BC on needing a lot of defenses back at home, maybe over
Oh, he
making
went double
Corsairs.
Stargate.
Yeah, he sold him on that a lot. That's a double-edged sword. It can still work for Bisu, but it could also cut his own limbs off while he starts to swing that sword if he doesn't do the damage that he needs to. So we'll have to see how that comes out. I think A15's played him like a fiddle a little bit here, though. I think he's kind of really sold a false bill of goods here to Bisu, and Bisu's kind of paid for that. But so far, Bisu has the potential to come in here and kill a lot of these overlords, though, despite that fact. And he's really doubled down into these Corsairs with that double Stargate, so he can kill so many of these overlords and blocking all of the supply of 815 right now. But finally, the Hydra's now starting to come out and ward these away. But so many overlords have died, down to just 13 of the supply to his 43 available. So he's gonna have to make like so many of these overlords just to even remotely stabilize here, saying like at least like 5 overlords just to start to stabilize, and those will become sniped very quickly as they start to hatch out. So Bisu in a very commanding position right now. Really rough at A15.
Jeez, that was painful. Really taking so much damage there from the Overlord supply block. That is brutal stuff, and it's amazing to me how Bisu always manages to get in there and deal that damage. But now the Overlords are going to be protected pretty well here. Is still supply block. There we go. Finally, unsupply block can start to build some other units. That was really good by him. Got so many kills, and this has actually made it worth it, this double Stargate play. I thought he was really gonna get you know, with the wool being pulled over his eyes, kind of screwed over by this double Stargate play, but now he's kind of transitioning, and after slowing down the Zerg this much, that transition is going to be pretty smooth here for Bisu.
Yeah, it's a big double-edged sword that he's wielding. Sometimes you cut the opponent's arms off, and sometimes you accidentally cut your own arm off. And this time he managed to hack A15's arm off, and he's trying to grow it back here. He's got the Zerg evolutionary abilities to regrow that limb, maybe come back a little bit stronger, a little bit faster each time. But for the time being, he has slowed down A15 a little bit. A15 now coming onto the map has a lot of units, though, and we'll be able to potentially delay at the third base from being set up from Bisu. Can start to contain him with a soft contain, transition into lurkers from there, and then maybe take it into a game-winning scenario here. But I think right now he's trying to make it look like he's going for some kind of bust play here. I don't think he's going to try it. I think he actually is trying to put a lot of pressure onto Bisu, see if he can come in here and take out a Bisu right away with some kind of Hydra bust. But I don't think he's going to have enough units to do this. I think he should just set up a contain.
Oh man, this is a little bit wild. All these Overlords are going to go down, it looks like. Actually pulling back with the Hydras here, not fully engaging onto those cannons. Man, the bust idea here was good by 815. Like, I like it. You force your opponent to go into Corsair. That always, or double Stargate Corsair, that always slows down the Templar tech by quite a lot. It slows down the Storm by quite a lot. And it does give you the option to try a bust like this, but he got supply blocked so hard earlier. It's like you can't really expect this push to work anymore when you've been delayed by so much. Maybe if Bisu came in, didn't get any Overlords, or only got a couple of Overlords and didn't really supply block the Zerg here too much, maybe we could have seen that bus come across the map a little bit quicker and actually get through those cannons. But as it stands, so many cannons were built here by Bisu. Really smart play from him, realizing where he was weak and making himself strong, really defending well and getting so many more Overlord kills here. These Corsairs are just crazy. These are Bisu Corsairs for sure.
Yeah, he's kind of showing his absolute stellar in class. He's basically the guy that revolutionized this way of playing, of going for this fast expansion and getting this Corsair count out and just really using them to the best of your ability to harass the Zerg and really tax them to the absolute limit. And he's executed that and demonstrated that perfectly here. And really exciting stuff to see Bisu back in his element, able to take out some of the best in the business with this style still. And obviously he's going for a bit more of an updated version, more modern version with this gateway first expansion, but it's more or less the same thing, different packaging. And yeah, I really like to see it. And I really think A50 should just contained him after forcing all those cannons and then like you know, turned into a longer game, but for whatever reason didn't want to go for that. And now Bisu coming out into the map with such a huge supply lead, he can just mop up these Hydras, and they can't really stand their ground and fight against this Zealot force. So they want to try and slip by and get the snipes on the High Templar, because Zealots are just so bad at escorting those High Templars. But now we have a DT in the main base. It's going to be a little bit of a checkmate move here, because there's no Overlord down here to defend this, and the Corsairs can now start to hunt down the Overlords while he's dealing with all this army currently just being shoved down his throat. And it's a tough nut for him to have to swallow it. A15 doing his best to try and stabilize, but now down to 45 supply as this economy is getting absolutely ravaged. Now Dark Temper 12 kills in the main. GG finally called, saying.
Oof. That's a painful one to watch. I think one of the worst parts of that was when the Scourge tried to fly in and hit that one Corsair and just completely whiffed. I hate Scourge and using Scourge for that reason, but you know, not really producing anything off of that Spire. 815 tried to pull the wool over the eyes of Bisu, but just solid control and play from him. Manages to overcome, and Team Bisu far and away ahead here with 4 points on the board, now going on match point into game number 6, and Mini is coming out next versus Hyuk. All right, for this next match here, we've got on Invader Hyuk spawning in the top left, and in the bottom right we've got Mini, the werewolf of Protoss.
He's a fierce contender, a little bit unpredictable, much like a werewolf.
We'll see if it's a full moon tonight or not. He's got the claws. You've ever seen his nails? He's got very long nails. I'm trying out this nickname for him. For now, I'm gonna call him the werewolf of Protoss.
Yeah, okay. I'm liking it. I'm liking it so far. He definitely does have the long nails, right? I can see that the imagery starting to come alive now.
Alright, well, a quick pool here. Overpool from Hyuk. Oh, looks like he's actually going to cancel an extractor to get that extra drone first. So kind of like a 10 pool, except you got the pool before you did the extractor trick, which is a little bit interesting.
Yeah, kind of doing the same thing in a different way. Might be slightly less optimized. I'm not quite sure how that works, but Hyuk just might have his own way of doing things here. Hyuk's a bit of an interesting guy, actually. Very high execution player. Kind of known to choke a lot back in the day. He was very inconsistent. He's kind of like a mini, if you will, because he's very inconsistent and seems to sometimes really perform well and really perform badly. But overall, though, I've actually been kind of impressed by his games. He has this tendency to go for these really highly optimized strategies and styles, but he does tend to execute it with a very high level of skill, and it's quite exciting to watch. And you do need to play like that as with the race of Zerg, which is a very glass cannon, highly micro race with a very high tier units like the Ling, the Hydra, the Muta, but they do require quite a significant amount of micro to get the most value out of them. So
that's true for sure. We got the cannon finishing up here for Mini, and he's gonna chase down this probe. Oh boy, that probe's so low here. Just one more hit, he needs to get that, but he does get it. Nicely done. Okay, so taking a little bit of control here in this early game. Hyuk shutting down that Protoss, that scout there, and the third base is going to go down right where he wants it as well, which is going to be on this high ground. It appears Mini's going to scout that, but what will he do with that information? I think he thought that he forced a hatchery down onto the low ground there at first by building the pylon, but the drone did come back and take that natural, and now I think we're kind of in Hyuk's world here. He's gotten the best of he's gotten the expansions that he wants to take, and I think these are the best expansions for him as well.
Yeah, I think Hyuk wants to star in his own little TV soap opera called Hyuk's World, and he wants everyone to come and watch it, and he wants to be the star. And I think he can be the star, even up against the likes of Mini. Maybe the plot twist is that Mini was the werewolf all along and just claws his face off, right?
You mean Hyuk was the werewolf all along, or because we already said the Mini was the werewolf, but
No, that's what I mean. Hyuk doesn't know he's a werewolf, right? And
okay.
Minnie's gonna transform and claw his face off. Yeah.
Well, we'll find out. We'll see about that. I think Hyuk here looking pretty good. He's started a Hydralisk Den, so it's looking like a bust. He may be taking down Mini here before he can transform into a powerful opponent here. He's only got a couple zealots on the map, and he's gonna start to put some pressure on. But there's a lot of lings at the front. Some more have been produced. Actually, this is not that fearsome of a ling count. You really need about two to three more pairs of lings to really shut this down. And you also have to prevent this probe from getting in at the same time. And this is a great move by Mini. Drawing the lings over here to the natural and then just going for the main. Oh, but he's going to be blocked. Really nice block there. Does clean that up, and now it's going to send these speedlings over to finish off these zealots. Is Mini tricked here, though? Does he know that there's going to be a Hydralisk bus coming, or is he still in the dark?
Well, this is the initial Zerglings that were made were very normal amount of Zerglings. And Mini might have thought, okay, maybe there's nothing crazy going on here. But after seeing the additional lings being made to the speed, Mini might be smelling something's wrong. But it's still not like a sure thing here. Like with the amount of lings that he saw at the timings that he saw, it does look very standard from a pro's perspective. So it's very hard to kind of read into that for sure. You can kind of like guess and kind of hedge your bets a little bit, but no, honestly, Mini's been fooled by it. Like it did look really standard the way that Hyuk lined it up with the initial lings. Like there's only 4 lings shown to the probe, and the rest of the lings are very slow coming out. It looked very standard from him, and that kind of might have tricked Mini completely here.
Yeah, this is kind of a newer style that we've seen kind of emerge recently, is going for the ling speed and then hitting with just a few Hydras and a big clump of lings. You can kind of block the zealots from moving forward, and the Hydras hit the cannons there kind of undisturbed, undisrupted by the zealots. Let's see if he can get it done. Yeah, he is going to jump on top of the zealots. He gets right on top of this cannon. Oh, this is beautifully executed by Hyuk. He's going to kill everything here.
It's really well executed by Hyuk. He has enough left over as well just to come in here and clean the rest up. There's a few cannons that are trying to be desperately morphed in, but they're not going to make it. The probe's now falling in short order. It's a beautiful execution from him coming in. You just run up the Hydras to the gateway, gun down both cannons one at a time. There's nothing really you can do as the pros play. If you're caught unaware by this, you're just dead. You need 3 cannons finished or probes already drilling. You need some kind of preemptive strike against the Hydras, or at least some kind of like hedge your bet, so where you start morphing in the cannon, and after your Corsair scouts it, you then cancel the cannon if there's no incoming attack, or you keep the cannon if there is an incoming attack, and you kind of have to hedge your bets in those situations, and if you don't, you're just dead pretty much.
That was a new bust, a new style of Hydralisk bust that kind of came about here recently in 2023. The ling speed into Hydra bust, you never really saw that before, but it's become a really strong build that Protoss players have to watch out for, and it turned out to be in this game the silver bullet that took down Mini, and Hyuk puts another point on the board for Team Best. We're gonna go to the roulette wheel. All right, just chatting a little bit here about the picks and bans. We've got Mighty being banned by Team Bisu. That Sock matchup, I think they felt like Sock's probably a better player. Mighty managed to pull the wool over his eyes in that game, or managed to take him down in that game. But I guess they don't think he can do it again, so they're going to ban that match. And on Team Best, going to ban the 8-1-5 matchup. So definitely not wanting to see the team captain for Team Bisu coming out in this set number 7. What do you think about these bans?
Yeah, there are quite a few ban options here, but overall I do think I agree with the Mighty ban, just because not only was he able to pull the wool over Sark's eyes, but it was quite a bit, not only a bit of a build order advantage to him, and also a map positional advantage to him. So really, they'd be rolling the dice on that rematch, and there's no way that Mighty would get that that same kind of game state again against Sark. So yeah, kind of. I think they kind of went into this with the idea that Mighty was gonna probably snipe someone like Sark, and they would have to then ban after the fact. And I think they go into these way of planning the strategies with that line of thinking, where they have to kind of ban that strategy after the fact. So you're not really going to have to worry about a rematch in those situations. So they probably were quite picky with who they were going to let do that kind of strategy and who they were going to ban after the fact.
Well, I'm really hoping that we see a Hyuk versus Mini rematch. I'm sure that Mini is just chomping at the bit right now to get his revenge here. Best versus Tyson wouldn't be too bad either. Senna versus Bora, that could be interesting as well. Let's see what matchup we're going to get. Spin the wheel. Who are you looking for here, Shun? Who do you want to see?
Yeah, plus Mini.
Here we go. Oh my god. Is it rigged or what? We just keep getting the best possible match and the ones that we both want to see. Set number 6 gonna be repeated here. Hyuk versus Mini. It's coming right up. Alright, what is going on here, Shun? KCM got his hand on the wheel or something? How do we keep getting the best matchups with this roulette wheel?
I don't know. They're just spoiling us, aren't they? And it just seems like the RNG gods really want this format to work and entertain us to the fullest. And I'm all for it, saying I'm all for that. So I'm not complaining at all. I'm looking forward to seeing some absolute stellar games between these kind of players, and really exciting to see what we're going to see out of Mini here after getting completely bamboozled in that first game of the set. Now has a chance to redeem himself and show why he is in fact this fearsome werewolf that's able to transform and just tear the faces off his opponents.
I bet that the adrenaline here for Hyuk is probably pretty high right now. He managed to, get that win off of this incredible player and probably felt a huge wave of relief after the win there, and immediately back into the hot seat once again. Still on match point here. He has to perform for his team, and he's against such a fantastic player who's got a lot to prove here as well. He's probably pretty pissed off that he lost that first game.
Oh yeah, he's probably very, very pissed off. He's a very emotional player as well as me. Look at him hunting down this probe. He's smelling blood in the water he's going for. He doesn't quite get the full catch on that. Hyuk, also a very stellar player in his own right, and very good on this early game low economy micro scenarios. So going to be very confident to keep that drone alive and use some manual pathing to kind of juke and jive a little bit and stay in this game without any kind of deficit in the early phase. It looks like Mini wants to be a little bit sneaky. Has this probe hiding down here, trying to bait out a little bit of response here from Hyuk, trying to sell him a bill of false goods this time and be like, hey, look at this, I'm going to cannon rush you, but really there's nothing going on here. And Hyuk's more of an experienced player, so he knows the exact timings of everything from Mini probably, so he would not be fooled by this fake cannon rush here, and isn't going to be pulling any drones off the line to have to worry about that. So I think everything so far going slightly Hyuk favored if he can't come in here and kill a single drone, but there is still the micro ability of Mini to contend with and can come in and get on these drones in maybe zone.
Looks like he's gonna throw on a very fast gas here, Hyuk is, and he's just thrown down his third base right now. A lot of these drones are pretty low. Might end up getting a kill here. Nice drill onto the probe. Very, very nicely done so far from Hyuk, and the Lings are out. Oh my goodness, not losing a single drone. Perfectly done so far here from Hyuk. So impressive, this hold here against such a strong and fearsome Protoss player. But now a second Zealot gonna get in here. How can he possibly prevent any damage from going down? He's gonna get on top of this Zealot once again. So well done. Oh my god, Hyuk.
Wow.
Holy.
Wow. But this guy not only gets the hooks into his enemies, he also sometimes gets the hooks into your hearts. And I hope he's got the hooks into your hearts, the viewers' hearts, the hearts that matter here, as he impresses us with his 500 APM anti Zealot harass micro here. Really stellar stuff from Hyuk, and I kind of talked him up earlier, and I hope you guys can see now why I bother even to mention these guys sometimes, because they do have a little bit of a special spark to them. Even if they're not the highest echelon of play, they certainly do have this kind of special star sense, this like ethereal ability to kind of like tap into some kind of like different dimensional way of exploring the world, and showing us some kind of crazy ways of playing the game, which we would have think, like, even though theoretically possible, no human could possibly execute it. But these guys have been playing this game for enough thousands of hours that they can actually play like that.
I think that Mini here playing as well at 500 APM. I don't think he regularly plays at 500, does he? I think he's more like a 300, 350 APM player, but he is just mashing the keys right now. He's got to be so frustrated at this point. He really should have been able to get at least one drone there, but he's probably expecting far more damage than that, and Hyuk's ability to keep his drones alive in that mineral line and just juke and jive, dancing all over those zealots is just really super impressive. And now Mini here, what's the next phase of this plan? What is where is he going to go from here? How is he going to execute this Zerg player? Because I think the transformation is just about to complete. He is at an anger level, I'm sure, that rivals any werewolf in reality. And here comes those zealots across the map. Can he kind of surprise Hyuk here? He hasn't really built too many links. He's actually popping out a lot more right now, but he hasn't reacted to these zealots yet, and the links are actually moving across the map. Here he comes, but he might be blocked on this high ground. The block could be really, really huge. Okay, he's gonna go back up, or he's gonna go up onto the top of this ramp. It's a pretty decent surface area here for Hyuk. He's gonna let these zealots up the ramp though, and now gonna get back on top of this ramp. A pretty decent still. Hyuk actually gets on top of this ramp and kills off quite a few of these zealots, and the reinforcements are gonna come up. I think Hyuk holds this just pretty much perfectly here.
Oh my god. If he stops these zealots from getting into the main base and seeing the Hydra, that's huge. He has shown him 4 drones at the third base, so he thought it was going to be a normal build order. Finally does come into the main base and confirm exactly what's what. Going to be starting to throw down the additional third cannon that he needs now right away. Mini going to be able to react to that, but now can transition and turn this into more of a fake Hydra bust now, seeing more and more drones being hatched out from Hyuk. But Hyuk so close to denying the full scout off on that, and he very cleverly made 5 drones at his third base, and usually with a 973 Hydra bust, you're only making 3 drones at that third base. So was trying to sell Mini a little bit of a story there and showing him that it was a little bit of a standard macro play and hide that fact, but because those zealots just barely made it into the main base and saw that Hydra den, the kind of jig was up. So now kind of have to transition. We'll be showing him this Hydras though, and kind of making it seem like he is still going for this, and also being able to save this Overlord. It's going to be a nice little bonus.
Yeah, keeping the Overlord alive as well. That really does keep this the threat of this Hydra bust alive here. If you're able to kill off that Overlord, you can't just produce a DT and then the threat of that really disappears. But he keeps that alive. He's gonna keep maybe these Overlords alive here too, but no, he only has 1 Hydra here. He's just been producing purely drones, and he sent most of his Hydras across the map. So this is a bit unfortunate for Hyuk. He could end up losing quite a few Overlords, especially over here in the natural. Ooh boy, this is getting to be quite a lot of damage, and Zealots have slipped out on the map as well. I don't know if he knows about that because his Hydras are watching the front here, but there's nothing watching that little secondary exit there at the bottom of the natural for Mini. There's nothing over here at the third base. He could take some serious damage from those Zealots, or at least force the runaway here. This is interesting. Since the ASL, we've seen more and more people use the double pylon at the front, because we did see that in one of those ASL games. It's not standard. You usually put the forge there, but it's becoming more popular, don't you think?
Yeah, it seems like it is becoming a little bit trendy, and if people are having success with it, you may see it more and more as well. And Looks like so many overlords are going down though for Hyuk that Mini's going to start to run away with this game if Hyuk's not careful. He has supply blocked him again effectively, so didn't quite get him into a huge deficit where he has to remake like 5 or overlords all at once. So not crazy damage here, but still really annoying. Can't produce any drones, any hydras for the time being. Has to make a new cycle of overlords to produce any kind of units right now. So it does kind of stymie and stifle the growth and the power of the Zerg potentially. So now we're going to put a little bit of pressure on the front with these hydras to try and force some cannons and a response out from Mini. Mini definitely trying to push down some of these more cannons and send out the zealots to buy some time. Probes also coming off the line. He's taking this threat very seriously. He understands that with these 4 cannons are not enough right now, and now starting to become target. One of the cannons at the bottom does start to be coming under fire by these hydras. Barely gets taken out, but does clean up most of these hydras because of the probes coming off the line. Mini calculating that quite flawlessly with how many probes he pulled off the line there, Sam.
Yeah, very nicely done. I think this is an overall an L for Hyuk here, who wanted to get in there and maybe try to bust, but because he was supply blocked again, he wasn't able to, you know, reinforce his position. And after killing the zealots, he's not going to be able to dive on top of these cannons. He's just going to have to fall back here, and that could have been a couple rounds of drones. Honestly, he could have been droning up a little bit harder here and getting ready for this next this next phase of the game where you're going to want some lurkers or you're going to want Spire. Okay, Spire are going to come down here. He's actually going to try and after killing off those 2 Corsairs, you know, really removing the threat of the Corsairs, maybe switch into Muta and catch Mini off guard, snipe a bunch of Templar, and try to take a game that way by overwhelming with Hydra.
Yeah, unfortunately though, I don't think that's in Hyuk's style. Hyuk's just not that kind of player usually. I think he's more likely to just try and make some Mutalisks maybe. He'll make like a control group of Mutas or just 10, and he'll start sniping the High Templars and then just bank on his Hydralist force to win the game from there. I think that's what we are going to see from Hyuk. I don't think it's necessarily going to work, but he can make it work. He's an exceptionally talented player. He does have very good Mutalisk micro. So if anyone can do it, maybe he can.
Dark Archon. Yes.
Oh yeah. We're gonna see Dark Archon saying, so we've got to be seeing that Maelstrom to counteract the ability of this Mutalisk switch from shutting him down. I think we haven't really seen that be too successful, have we? So it would be nice to finally see that be successful here.
I think this is the perfect opportunity, right? Mini, he spotted the Spire here at the front. He's gonna come in again and kind of harass this third base. Hyuk just not being prepared for that. He hasn't spread his overlords around. You know, despite the fact that he killed all of the Corsairs, he just hasn't really done that. And that's really to his detriment, because he could have basically omnipresent vision on the map at this point if he wanted to. Just by putting those overlords all around and making sure that these zealot counterattacks can't happen. But he got caught with his hydras out on the map, and Mini manages to get some good damage here. He sees all the mutas as well, so he knows exactly what he's up against. He should have that Maelstrom upgrade finish, and only another 10 seconds before his Maelstrom, his first Maelstrom is ready here. And he might, in fact, catch this entire group of mutas. This could be a huge catch here for Mini if he manages to get this.
He has the Maelstrom energy right now, right as the 10 mutas are ready to come in and start harassing. He has the energy, so very well timed from him. Has it mapped out perfectly in this game. Mutas now sweeping around to the back of the mineral-only expansion to come in. Additional mutas. Oh yeah, he's going to do the bait. He's going to do the bait. He wants to just do this. This is what I've been seeing a lot lately. They just come in with just like 4 or 5 mutas, kind of bait out the Maelstrom here. But Mini's not taking it. Oh, he does take the bait. He is going to storm this. I actually thought for a second that Mini wasn't going to take the bait and just not even bother Maelstroming that, but it looks like he is going to be doing that. I'm kind of surprised by Mini for not holding his nerve there and not actually pulling the trigger on that.
Yeah, now he's going to come in and snipe the Templar. This is exactly what you need to do with this play. Going to get 1 Templar, 2 Templar, 3 Templar are going to go down. He walks through the storm, though. Okay, he loses quite a bit of his Mutalisk, but he got 3 Templar. There's only 1 left. If the Hydras were sitting here on the high ground right in front of this, you know, like just to the right of this, ready to go, I think that Hyuk could have just overwhelmed this and killed this army right now, but he's kind of sitting back here. I feel like this is a bit of a mistake that we're seeing from Hyuk right now. He's going to take his 4th base, but he's not really capitalizing on this opportunity right now to shut down this army.
No, I mean, it's basically just pure Dragoon with like very minimal Storm support here. So yeah, basically you just roll through with these Hydras and target fire these goons down before they could get any kind of reinforcing storms to trade efficiently. But now there is a few more High Templars meeting up with this army, a few more additional storms. But here come the Habitas once again trying to snipe down these High Templars. Beautiful effort from him, going to be able to shut down 2 more of these High Templars for his effort and force the storms out. The other ones, there's now no more storms in this army for the current time being, and if he wants to, he can now just come out with these Hydras and put a lot of pressure onto Mini, who doesn't have a lot of splash damage in his arsenal to use against these Hydras right now. There's a few trickling High Templars making their way in with this force, and a few Zealots to tank as well. This is pretty much just a pure Dragoon army that he's going to be fighting uphill against a huge critical mass of Hydras coming into his northern threshold now, controlling the high ground peninsula.
But this is a little slow from Hyuk. You know, you really want to pull the trigger on this Hydralisk attack a bit faster, right? Like, you don't want to be waiting for, you know, more reinforcement Templar to come out of Mini. You want to be hitting this right as it happens. Oh god, that storm is so good. He had 1 storm and 1 storm only. Still managed to land it on a huge clump of Hydra.
Yeah, I mean, Hyuk's going for like a very technical knockout play here, but he's slightly mistiming his execution, and now this harassment's going to distract him a little bit right as the Hydra's go in. A beautiful Maelstrom on those Hydras. The Storm is going to be clumped up on top of everything, blanketing those Hydras, mashing them into nothing. It's basically a Zerg barbecue here right now, and it's going to be an all-you-can-eat buffet if these Protoss units were interested, but I don't think they're going to be interested. They're not really impressed by the taste or the texture of these Zerg forces. They don't really have the kind of metal that the Protoss players are so used to, and these tribalistic apes are going to be just ripping through these forces with no real effort exerted.
Yeah, this is not looking good. Hyuk is being shoved back on all fronts. He has the 4th base going, but just not good enough. This army is too big, too unwieldy. He's gonna tap out, and that is it. Team Bisu takes the win there. Ugh, that was a little bit rough. I thought Hyuk had a great idea of how to play that game, but the execution just barely not quite there. Well, just like that, this week of KCM is over. Team Best has been eliminated. The 3rd place match goes to Bisu. We're not really sure what kind of advantage you get from getting the 3rd place position, but I guess maybe you get the preferential choices for who you go up against maybe in the next half. I'm not sure about that though. We still have this finals match coming up very soon, Team Light versus Team Hero. That's what I'm really looking forward to.
Yeah, I mean, Light versus Hero. It's not quite the finals I wanted to see. I wanted Light versus Bisu in the finals. Not quite going to see that, but that's okay. Light versus Hero is just as good, if not in some ways a little bit better. Hero, a very talented Zerg player. Pretty much like one of the most well-rounded Zerg players that we have now. I can't think of a single Zerg player that's more well-rounded than Hero.
It's a very balanced team here from Team Light. 2 of each race, Team Hero. Only 1 Protoss player on that squad, but making up for it with some very strong players in the Zerg lineup. And we've also got that strong Terran lineup as well. We're going to have Cadenzi in that finals. Nice to see her there. And we'll see if she's able to take down Anna in her game. She's going to be preparing for that ZVP match. We're going to be looking forward to that. We're going to be looking forward to a lot of great games in that finals. Hopefully we'll get to an ace match. Once again, I'd love to see the ace match with Light versus Hero, wouldn't you?
Oh, absolutely. Who wouldn't want to see that?
Anyways, guys, that's it for this episode of KCM. We're going to be back here in just a couple of days to bring you guys the finals. We'll see you very soon. naar gas en dat is echt nu stoort met Nessie, dat is nog wat vallen, door 13 even. Van een nummer van naar ze geven weer per heel, met niemand kan ik zeggen, maar ben sorry, ik hoor geen man, maar little fast, ik heb gesnashed, nu son.
Ik was het. Was national norm en gisteren nee je weer naar weer en je mag niet dus nieuws nee je eigen bij mag zelf maar zo van scherp maar zo van het nog maar mag het nu je should miss your must as if you real we plan this on maar zie je er echt zo je ja has niet meer weer zien het is goed niet on de bij je specifiek dus zien je van er echt we een pas je op je nou ben ik ja zijn niet is dan maar van de buurt terug uit de doen we dan bij erfle wel je anders is er echt je wel zien dan maar meer af ik als niet is dat we maar first niet naar de les en we nog wel was ook zeggen een jaar mee hoeft niet dan ik zo'n snaps gaan en zeg het ziel on de snop hier as you say film het op en zeg het loopt me af en de eerste nu means dat en dus je hier te zeggen ja dus niet snaps gaan en dan als het nu is er echt al mis couch ja de hebben van een gezocht als nu ik het zeker weer zit dat hij liep zich am gas geld alleen Josh dat weer nou ik wel in wel uit zoiets dat je met dat aan dat met het spel niet die hele dat zie dat gas geld of je precies
Nou, het meeste dat er echt doe cyber niet met glitsen. Nou, dat gets dus niks uit op en where they out and out the government staat niet meer naar get de we maar ook niet dat er naar gaat. Ja, veel beter. Hier maar naar get wel op zo in der ik vaak niet gesnacht zo de gaan snack ik heb ja voor dus er al hier weer even zit. Zwam er verder al wat is in de pacht. Dat geld side je understand. Very fast what is niks er ik get er aware chauffeur from the show this in the dip and I'm sorry ik got all stuff.
maar dat voor weer meer en snaps gaan aan de sites dat wat had me behind er fish dat boy Renisha die dat is wel geen mensen die de hele zin aan en dus op zo al wanneer je staat die chain cel of al dat was als of how shadow
Dus maak je een match op, maar zeg als dat niet nog. Zeg je bij heel veel Starcraft, we willen in het schip, dus she ziet doe je live, ik is nu niet aan. Je wil leren vier even zitten, echt niet. De keer of niet de launch is nooit wel. Dat is het beter worden. Maar dat is dat in de real vertrouwd dat in de call was meest al hier even, wat is net extra serieus. Ik zie de wheelships. Shit af, van ik dat. Hoe is dat slaan het like? Die nummer vrouw hier, wie ben ik zie earlier en dus neem ik op bands en je film met al met dit verder dat ze er zo. Met al ben ik is earlier en dus neem ik op dit film met al met de mama kan ik ze zien door het dat. En wat surf dus is zie dan niet geld hurry you are good see niet meer
nu is er echt in werking als ik niet zelf nou heb niet al dan die aan mijn exit weer wanneer het nou weer was geld wil al first hier het nou you know let's see now both this year voor mij ook is film met op en is nou zijn je dus op nog aan dat je hebt zijn je weer zie was loop stop dus niet eens op de eerste session naar je dat je dat je maar is of nieuw met op TV Simpsons nou in de marketing en de believing dat nu je zien was een geval en aan deze dan wel wat het snips dat je hebt zit op niet meer of de snaps cursus niet meer van nog die laber van de hier met een huis meer van van je dat zie ben ik dus nog film met op van zie je zijn zo hoe je
Blijven het zeggen dat is snel staat zelf. Verder dat ze hier wat ze hebben zin. Dat is really op het nog niet dat breaking up zo wie willen nou en ik zie dan heel snel dat is nou even dat nou zo dat was niet even stay out see heel zo maar niet girls nu dit nummer is beter in de ene waar heel mooi en area no idea dat er zien just nou heel af serieus in de even shows this the girlfriend so dan and everything else looks like you know and nu there's no girls son ja get the ring of a sheet I'm very heelish if failure really but Neil niet zit nog echt in de kast maar freaking niggas no snel van het aan er of je mag niet meer aan voor dus die dan maar zie er dat worst aan met het maar en daar ja had nou ik niet meer aan miskas jij
dus eigenlijk die heb zich niet gelezen dat de lust van de werk die de moest eigenlijk niet lezen dat is dingen dat ik wel scherp met die lopen soft en exit wel oors niks dan nog zeg hier zie je dus dat is nou dat gaan also off with hang it and there are besef me gestern en de family soccer match niet nu maar als nou win en het caps dan wist dat speed is ik heb zien maar als het stil zie waar net en nu zie snel aan wie waar nou hoe die in de derde hier gellen dat gezien dus veel wat dat is like sleep ook benad zit wat je besef niet in dat dus zo naar ICM ja wat al wat they know gas los aan dat helps so we maar is dat hier zien dat dus zo naar de sharp nu ik de loop zeer echt zie we moeten naar gaan dat niet in back in the of a sharp some not here on the way home eller som sitter där att ställa sig här på vägen jag för att jag bäst det måste vara så att ni inte räcker rätt väl att sen just så ser vi nog inte jag när jag gick men alltså jag måste inte bäst det måste vara snälla och då så jag kväll sen man så jag fick inget mer stoff det är alltså slag marshall och sånt där här fresh där jag säger Süden sen det skulle inte också ja jag nörste sin att jag ska inte måste se för exempel jag lägger upp så i
I never eat them. Send me the assy sick out. Fell learn a cinder your vital assistance. Hey, net roll cross. Whoa. I need a roll. That van exceed. I'm so opposite that I hail stress who last this draw still bail. Mirror if let's ma. Gas, fine. Fell learn a cinder safe earth thing to give me a gift. Yeah, I said the damn refer safe earth one. I need what happened to cost just the last though. Sloish the law a week just reader hurry surf I do the father search the mouth the bit of I search better enough with the serious growth so that new era.
Naast is actually en also zijn er meer arbeid north en west wel wie fijn als het wat hier bezocht natuurlijk beschlossen maar zeer echt dat was zeer echt opzet je nieuws also daar stam wie met snel zeer echt of zie dat je nog waan en wel maar zelf of niet wat op soort dat was nog niet en dingen dat ik me never maar pas was nou alleen maar wel zo in een week dus wel hier of zien je ziet wat je zegt naar ver maar die aan dat ze wel niet na je het in je zit daar hier was je snarste dus was de en zeker nu feesten shift en kan ik die zelf of het is nou met de shift en de able leggings dat als naar heel als mag als ik dat ja goed en dan zie je zelf een beetje chef als de chef was niet en mis nooit mijn wat ik als of fake al de wil is het als van je maar zit in mooi hoe we als zo iets hebben ze je echt ziet om als je op steeds en als de chef om mas ja op zich niet best zijn en de laatste wel dat niet zo was niet zo snel en dat
Hey, man, I agree. So, get the nerve. Yes, the individual that we only get the syrup said, the let's see up now, snack, everyone was the girl, so it's my sister, the shelf, and she's not scared. See, sat and I guess no, they can't much, then I'm busy. And my hammer failed here because it's snash to be fun. I get your tail for a fail, only half bit on that, and I guess no, but she's sending a snash. He'll go clear of here if the white dicks now, but the lady must not see the. Box not ever exceed our flash that air game extended ice. There's nothing though it's now. I mean, if I audio surf server space, that I'm getting up not set instead of. And if I can agree, it's now we for that I have the sound scam boost, the neither receiver people who necessarily from the bit of sound look for the wheel ships up. Team rotten or the one. Hurry, you know, from the show, but they're off me, killer versus show. Fuck, getting the ball servers. The team rotten, there's the very stops, the vast. And this is yeah, really off this little then that I'm see else perspective. It's niche that there's fat fuss with over there surf able to leave them. I yeah. It's fell did off able to list over us. Hey, see if me I'm passing it's niche dealer really got that I
man det väl så flex när det det bedo even by the armor nice assure even we said the flex but massive on this is fish go I mean see here there was here stuff you know we're saying that's not so we just give it was just so there's not in the sky we do here about that having lost at least and you know even see of this likes not no good already being tell the stuff the will go fast the amino I guess and look Germany they fight you know it's not here like them on the past you're not dagen en als niet helpt, het helpt als net dan nog iets dat was in mij niet nog niks dat is zo vannacht zo. Echt over wielen zitten de vlees kan niet meer van English dus niet.
Nog meer weer even zit Bob zo niet honor dan de snel next dat other whistle. Hey next nou we see what servers was het zit er fout kunnen geschassie hoor. Hey so we will Hurry, passion if that's marked us, so it's never so. Gas, Marv, I searched in that accent, I never. Since seal ship sign, every number flicking really from that very was an episode I so they. Ma, he'll that really rat the upside like Minneker so like get the read minutes it calls come off the Ellerstein and they're going back to Nib Sour had down. No, next is the real free get over for all healy read what I don't know, next fell but off when there's an en I never thought masker. Geld die mips out of mijn veel off. Snaps. Hey, ben ik ze interested de fur hier nog kan accept die mim. Maar nimsa dan ja ruiking het uit.
Ja, daar is dus nog wel iets als een rechts chaos, maar zo was in de naast nog zelf de wisten al of de whole ieder als er rechts de wijze wat am zag yes zo if eerst heel snel ieder op zeer rechts chats nog zelf zie de wijze aan de als nou maar zeer rechts we stoken voor die position ja rest de wilks in de soort dat ze weer vandaag niet zelfs ook aan de focus is ook hier ook wel dat is hier dat is dat zien maar wel look at de winnen dus de rest de vast nacht zie je dit al dit snaps get together with the get out of the rest of the stuff here in the fats niet huis dat nest de wel weer meer Sheen years in March here we making it
Or sterven hier, lovely feet I hear is niet aan hier en nou het is niet wel en ik er hier weer van had ik daar.
ik had zo dat
Ja, we de file for your payment accessory, maar voor je als social on. Ja, ik wat die gras.
al bij max everything be like thing is near like ook dus zo dat max even snel uit op zat dit de of je maar zeer de dus je wist en ik had dat dat dus nog ook staan dat zo dus je hebt niet met likes die is near like je hebt die one little ik zeg je zelf likes en shame of nog goes in de wacht gelijk maar ran ik ook niet meer verteld er is die en ik heb mag niet zeggen dat wie nou ook weer zo en met het heel fish in de pan maar dat is waar je de steek is en je ziet hebt niet maar er is nog zo je er zien wat ik zie wie zei doe je dus nog weer gezien meer als zelf nog dat way
Er heeft een pas hier op zo'n idee wie mixed dat girl als er vriendje chamber van de erom. Was zo maar wat likes the way mix in de dynamic now me en al dat ik hoor en die visets dat ding makes een deel voor die van die hopes de gasten get now fair weer even ze de weer wat ik niet over heel maar is dat ze niet naar vis en je dacht je smaakt in een wheelships nee daar hoef ik uit wat al was er dicht mag hier even en op zijn er get een heel roog ja ik get wat voor een wet op zout op zijn race maar al heel Bush times in over mag hier is dan kijk maar
en zie je me yes dat nu ik dus maar je ligt niet hoop dus neer boven hier te zien already as ach nu dus dus nou was on
there
er was nu dus nou snaps gaan en is werking ligt als ach oh ach neer but that's just all as these pieces so you are sitting
heel snel dat is doe je niet caps dus we gaan wonder dat maar niet caps dus we surf LS er voor de dat is dan met dat we niet zo neer LS is er hier af maar gewoon get surf en low sale and the lips you sound met bottom the other was yeah with that low so be now no we're not gonna see very stuck here does see games with all surf and off singing out he strikes that the fire is there that's dynamic and that near most here get stuff near no we see the middle cost
secondary cost but the hero fish keep we that whole the soft say you say but no say we know we are first said we but no we don't be there why so was yeah we know he fish keep go pass I think it's shower if you is giving again was like me this is involved yes but now you know if you business and of associates was involved the eerste vi not no zelf kom van de lots on cycling gewoon in de naps knap die hebben met glas loop me heeft nu wel leven ik zei dus dan de lots cycling ik ben ook een like
you're sharp about met that right here that's dynamic up here but he Well, we're talking about a gill see in this earlier today. Cost was heck, and that's not a fear success. I think the lyric out but on this guy. See out. If you says now for some of the destination is the way you know because it's so clean out and then when I have to see this at the lever so you see where because this guy I see the lever on with the way you see
så får vi det med nu jag gick just det och så jag gick vi läser ner på själva men det ni hej
I'm past surf regular wriggles this is it surfs it like six seen it come up with no regular risk it man I go and let's go sit up see it up cost Sydney Colonial Scalabshan of Mirrors. What's is it? Slow, sorry, surfs is kind of the way when I get a soft was saucy there when I give it a lot of what.
Everson's selling a big group. Alright.
Rush years so I brought years over which is I get master care week, but I didn't even saw. Hey, use information. And I don't get in there last say, never stream here. What nonsense. Nonsense. I'd like to give it. He damn filmed the man must. Cabro out. First fix it.
Jag vet inte vad jag gör så BCG. Han är Mr. Schneider Mörsel. Väl och faktiskt ja, hela fett som får missen och ni hej.
Or we need to nix this up this season, but it give me so raffle off the what on getting villa saying the look mark numeral for feeler on. My see in notion if such a some costs mercing it air but all in his skin fell lost in the cost air lost and there you know. He damns the serve costs that we so name this night.